Okay, Ketchikan departure. This is a lovely weather. Look at the sun. We are going IFR today, so no VFR for us. It is just us, the coastline, and hopefully we can get some salmon, because what I heard is this is the salmon capital of the world. So we are going on a salmon run. Right, let me open this door first and greet our passengers. We have 2 passengers on board going on salmon with us. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you like salmon. You know this Ketchikan airport, the runway is above the apron. I have to go, look at this, there's 2 slopes that have to go up to the runway.
Yeah, exactly. Ketchikan's runway is built right on a hillside, so you have to climb up that slope carefully. Once we get to the top, it levels out and you'll be lined up for a nice smooth departure. This is part of the inside passage, and it's really more like a network of coastal waterways. So yeah, even though it's technically a fjord, it feels like a sea bounding these little islands.
Like in Norway, right?
Exactly. It's very similar to the fjords in Norway, those sheer granite cliffs, the narrow channels, and all that glacial history. It's just a little different here with the spruce forest meeting the water, but it's just as dramatic.
Okay, let's line up the plane. We are taking off. Rate, gears up.
Gear coming up, and we're climbing steadily now. The fjords open up in front of us, and we'll just follow the coastline north toward Ringland. Nice and smooth.
This coastline here is beautiful. Wow.
It really is. Every bend in the water, every ridge line, it's like nature just left a map for us. And as we follow this route, every turn we take reveals another hidden fjord.
We're going on VFR today, so there is no path we are following. We're just going to fly coastline to coastline, going between the mountains, trying to get as close as we can to the ground, and hopefully we don't crash.
We'll keep it visual, staying low and close to the terrain. February is actually a great time for winter adventures. In Southeast Alaska, you can catch the start of the bald eagle migration, or head up to the glaciers for some snowshoeing or some heli ski. And of course, the northern lights are still possible, especially if we head further north.
Look at this lake or pond. I think this is a lake. It's quite large up in the hills.
Yeah, I see it too. That's probably one of the alpine lakes tucked into the foothills. In winter it can freeze over, so it almost looks like a mirror from above.
Oh, we have to turn right here. We are getting very close to the mountain. This is close. The view is really beautiful. I'm really glad we can see it in the sky.
I know, right? There's something so special about being up here. Everything just stretches out below us, and you can see all these hidden bays and ridges. It really feels like we're part of the landscape.
Tell me more about the landscape, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So this whole landscape is shaped by ancient glacial activity. The valleys we're flying over were carved by massive ice sheets, and now these fjords fill up with seawater. The rivers and streams you see, they're all still shaped by that glacial flow, and every bend tells a story of time.
I'm not seeing a lot of snow here.
That's true. Down in this lower elevation, a lot of the snow has already melted off. Up higher, though, you'll still see some lingering on the peaks. It's a reminder that even in winter, the coastal climate here is pretty mild compared to the interior. You can see how the ridgeline catches just a little more wind, so that's where the snow lingers. It's like a thin frosting just on top, while the forest below stays bare. It gives the whole valley a really delicate balance.
I think that little lake is frozen.
Yeah, it looks like it is. This time of year, the cold nights can really freeze these lakes solid. If we come back in a few weeks, it might be perfect for some ice exploration, maybe even a short ski or a walk out there.
So you say we will see migrations of birds. You think we will run into some, or it's not the time?
We might catch the start of the eagle migration, actually. February is when they begin returning to the rivers to fish, so as we get closer to Wrangell, keep an eye out. If the light is right, we might see some soaring overhead.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for some birds. We don't want any bird strikes when we are this close to the ground.
Exactly. I'll stay really aware of the airspace around us, especially as we descend toward the runway. We'll keep it slow and steady so we don't surprise any birds.
Do people hunt in this region? You think we can find some animals in the forest?
They do, actually. In the interior and forested areas around Wrangell, people hunt deer, waterfowl, and sometimes black bear. Of course, it's all regulated, but the landscape is really rich with wildlife, just quietly waiting in those woods.
Oh, look at this view to the left. This is breathtaking. How are the people living here in Alaska?
You know, life here is really tied to the rhythms of the land and sea. People are often independent: fishermen, loggers, small business owners. The winters are long, but the community is close-knit. They rely on each other and they really embrace that rugged, self-sufficient lifestyle.
This is actually a lot of green I am seeing. Quite surprising.
Yeah, it really is surprising. In winter, you wouldn't expect so much evergreen cover, but these Sitka spruce and hemlocks keep it green all year. It's like a hidden forest in this coastal landscape.
Well, let's fly over this lake and we'll get very close to the treetops. Let's see if we can see any animals there.
That sounds good. I'll keep us just above the treetops, slow and steady, and we'll scan the edges of the lake. If anything's moving, we might catch a glimpse.
What animals do we expect to find?
So up here, you might spot deer along the forest edges, maybe a bald eagle perched in a tree, and sometimes even otters or waterfowl in the lake. It's a quiet, subtle landscape, so we'll have to really look closely.
Do you think PA-24, the plane that we're flying now, is a good plane for bushflying?
It's a solid plane, actually, especially for longer distances, but it's not really a dedicated bush aircraft. For rough strips, something like a Beaver or a Super Cub would be better. But for these coastal fjords, the Comanche does give us a nice balance of speed and power.
Yeah, we're really cruising along this coastline here.
Yeah, we are. The coastline just keeps unfolding ahead of us. Each inlet and river is like a little secret waiting to be seen. It's really a special place to be flying right now. You know, this region was part of the Tlingit homeland for centuries, but it was also one of the first places in Alaska to be settled by Russians. In fact, Wrangell was originally a Russian outpost before the US purchased Alaska in 1867. Yeah, and actually the Russian influence is still visible today. Some of the old buildings in Wrangell date back to that time, and you can still see Russian Orthodox churches and cultural markers around town.
It's quite interesting that Russians are here in the US.
It really is. I mean, it's a reminder of how fluid these borders were in the 19th century. Alaska was this frontier for trade, exploration, and politics long before it became part of the US. So it's got a really layered history.
Do you think we can find vodka here? Probably shouldn't drink and fly. Yeah. Salmon will do. Salmon and vodka. So, if Wrangell has a heavy Russian influence, you think there are lots of vodkas there?
You know, there actually is a bit of a Russian legacy in the culture, but not so much for vodka consumption. The Russian Orthodox Church is big there, and you'll find that a lot of the traditions, like crafts, music, even names, still carry that subtle Russian imprint.
What a disappointment. Thought we can get some salmon in Falkland.
No, right? It would have been a fun twist. Still, we can definitely enjoy the history and the scenery. There's plenty of rich intrigue here, even if the vodka isn't on every corner. A lot of the local dishes center around seafood, like halibut or smoked salmon. But if you're looking for something like game, you might find reindeer or venison, especially in local restaurants. It really reflects the subsistence lifestyle.
How's the culture here compared to Norway, let's say, or Sweden, or Finland?
That's a great comparison. Alaska shares a lot of that frontier spirit, like Scandinavia. It's tied to the land, the sea, and a sense of isolation. But Alaska's culture is more mixed. Indigenous Tlingit traditions blend with Russian, American, and this rugged pioneer ethic, giving it a unique feel.
I know there's a game, like, not running, that's set in Alaska, right? This looks very much like the game.
In fact, some of the terrain in Mud Runner is inspired by Alaskan wilderness. Those rugged hills, frozen lakes, and tight forest passes. It's kind of amazing how realistic it is to this landscape.
Well, but we can't test the plane off-road, so... Right, so I'm guessing this is Rango. We're getting very close to the airport. The airport is just behind this little town. Okay, runway is clear. Ooh, look at that. That's a float plane. Definitely gonna fly that next time. Looks fun. Okay, we have a touchdown.
Nice landing. We've got a smooth rollout here on the runway. I'll taxi us off to the ramp so we can shut down and stretch our legs in the rain.
So, what do you recommend us doing in Rango here?
I definitely recommend a walk through downtown Ringgold. You can visit the Totem Heritage Center or just explore the waterfront. And if you have time, maybe check out Petroglyph Beach. It's a quiet, special place with ancient carvings.
Right, sounds like a good plan. We'll find a parking space here, park our planes, shut everything down, get some drinks, and go to that totem place that you mentioned.
Perfect. Once we're parked and everything's secured, we can head into town, warm up with a coffee, and then take our time walking through the totems. I think it's going to be a really nice afternoon.
Right, let's shut everything down. Avionics off, powers off, engines off. Right, so we are in Rangau. Still sitting in the plane? Okay, I'm going to grab a drink here now.